You know this two-time Oscar-winning actress best from her roles in Mrs. Doubtfire, Forrest Gump, and Lincoln, and now she's back on the big screen playing the role of a 60-something hoarder that's trying to win over her heartthrob co-worker. Take a look. Sally Field, welcome here to CT Style. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. This is very exciting. We're going to get all into Hello, My Name Is Doris. It looks like it's going to be a great movie. But first, I want to talk a little bit about you personally as an actor. I know for me growing up when Mrs. Doubtfire was out, your character was going through a divorce. And as a young kid, my parents were going through a divorce. And I always found your character to be really relatable every time I watched the movie. And I think as an actress, you do a great job in being relatable. And in this specific film, Doris, as quirky as she kind of is, I think there's a lot of relatability to her. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think I think there are parts of Doris that we all identify with and feel inside of ourselves. It's, you know, she's been sort of cut off from the world, and her, as human beings, we all have the task to try to move on with our lives into the next stage of our lives, and that's where she is. I mean, will we be brave enough to take those steps into this unknown territory of who we are to become, or will we cling on to what we were? And I think that's a universal feeling. And
in the movie, it's kind of interesting because the archetype of the guy chasing the girl, it's kind of flip-flopped here. She's older, she's chasing after the younger, attractive co-worker. Did that play anything into the role with you in the way that you approached it, in that it was flip-flopped a little bit?
No, not really, because it isn't really flip-flopped in that Doris doesn't see who she is because she's got some borderline mental health issues. She lives in a complete fantasy world, and so she doesn't even stop to think that the John character, wonderfully played by Max Greenfield, is quite a bit younger than she. It is the bait that begins to draw her out of her shell and to move into the world. So, you know, people have been calling it a love story. It really isn't. It's certainly a friendship is involved, but it is, you know, the thing in life that you turn your head and you start to walk towards because it seems where you want to be, that makes you move on in your life. And in this one particular instance, it's this character John.
Well, we were just looking at a little clip from the movie. The character John, what do you think sort of draws him in? What about your character do you think he's somewhat attracted to or intrigued by on a friendship level, or in love to some degree?
Well, you know, I think what it is that they're both actually very much in the same place. It doesn't look like it at first, but then you realize he too feels isolated and alone and doesn't know how to move to the next place in his life. And he has never really had people around him who are willing to listen to him because he's handsome and, you know, and a good old guy, and
sure.
And he needs somebody to talk to. And Doris, being the place and the woman she is, she wants nothing more than to sit and listen to him and really hear what he has to say. And so when somebody listens to you, when somebody sees you, when somebody looks in your face and says, I hear you, that feels incredibly powerful and important. And that's what he feels from her.
Sally, real quick, before we head on out, The Kiss with Max, does it rank in the top 10 of all time on your list?
Poor Max, he's just getting raked over the coals here as we're telling these. You know what, I like not to rate these kisses that I've had on screen with various and other actors. I mean, you know, be they Paul Newman or James Garner or Max Greenfield. I don't want to rate them. They each are wonderful in their own right.
All right, very well said. You guys will have to check out the movie. Again, it is called Hello, My Name Is Doris. It's out in theaters right now. Sally Field, thank you so much for joining us here today on CT Style.
Thank you, Ryan.